Welcome back to another podcast book club episode. This collaboration of Stock in the Middle and Palm Wine Central. I am one of your hosts, Uncle AK, and today, we diving in. We're diving into a deeply touching and thought-provoking book, Tuesdays with Morrie by Mitch Albom. Like I said, I'm your host, Uncle AK, and I can't wait to explore this incredible lessons this book has to offer with all of you. Tuesday with Morrie is a memoir that chronicles the time Mitch Albom spent with his former college professor, Morrie. This book captures their Tuesday meetings where they discuss life's most important topics. As Morrie battles ALS, he starts his wisdom on life he shares his wisdom on life, love, work, family, and death, offering profound insights that deeply impacts Mitch and by extension, the readers. Let's talk about the two central figures in this book. First, we have Mitch, a successful sports journalist who feels unfulfilled despite his professional achievements. Then Morrie, a retired sociology professor diagnosed with ALS. Morrie's positive outlook and philosophical reflections on life turns his tragic situation into an opportunity to teach individuals life lessons. The theme in Tuesdays with Morrie the themes in Tuesday with Murray are universal and timeless. They include the values of life, simple pleasures, the importance of relationship, how you deal with aging and mortality, the pursuit of meaningful work, and overcoming materialism. We can all relate to these topics, and Maury Wisdom provides a fresh perspective on each. Um, Over the next hour, we'll delve into these themes, sharing practical tips and personal examples. We'll also pose some thought provoking questions to help us reflect on our life and experiences. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment sections and join our discussion on social media. Grab your favorite beverage, set it down, and explore the incredible lessons from Tuesday with Morrie. And remember, this is an interactive session, so we encourage you to engage with us throughout this episode. Now, let's get started. Mane, how you doing? How you feeling? Hope you didn't pass out through that long intro.
I'm here. I'm okay. Looking forward to learning the different perspectives of the book experiences and all that.
Yeah. Barbara, what's going on with you?
Happy Thursday, guys. I'm good. Good. How's everybody? Looking forward to diving into the book and hearing everybody's opinion about it.
Yeah, so Nelly, how you doing?
I'm okay. Hi, guys. Happy to get this one rolling.
Yeah, so and T, what's good with you?
What do you do, baby?
All right, let's start. Let's start like this. I think Nelly, you're the one who proposed for us to read Tuesdays with Morrie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about well, how you got in contact with the book, and for the very first time that you read it, what was your perspective on it? Then we'll go from there.
Well, this book was recommended to me by a patient of mine, actually. And when I read like the little synopsis on the book, I thought, oh, this sounds like a sad book. That was my impression going into it. But upon reading it, I really took away a lot of life lessons, especially the importance of paying attention, slowing down, taking it easy, because we live in such a fast-paced world. And Morrie is able to give you a perspective from a dying person. Like he knows he's dying. I'm sure we all know that we're gonna die someday, but he's like actively dying. So his perspective is kind of fresh. It's enlightening, to say the least.
Yeah, it's a little bit touching, and I don't know. Even though he was dying, there were still some concepts in it that had my mind spiraling, and I was kind of asking myself the opposite questions of what he was proposing. But we'll get into it. Um, well, T, can you tell us a little bit about, Tuesdays with Morrie? What was your first impression after reading the book?
Well, after reading the book, or my first impression.
No, after reading the book, like what was your first impression? Like what was the first thought that come to mind after you close it?
Well, someone, when I had posted like what we're reading next, someone said, "Oh my God, it's such a sad book." So I was like, ugh, it's gonna be a. I was expecting a lot of sadness, but it actually is not a sad book at all.
Mhm.
And then after reading it, that nobody could have been more alive than Morrie was, if you ask me. So I don't think it was a sad book. It was, how do I say it? It was like a living memoir, if I can say that. So it was an interesting, lots of themes to cover. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you said one thing that was very important there, like a living memoir. It's like this is my life, right? This is what I've been able to understand throughout now. It's not about going out, it's more about what humanity needs to understand as they keep on going in this journey of in what's this journey of life. So I don't know, Mane, what do you think? Then my bro get into our topics, our main questions for the day.
When I first heard about the book, I actually also heard it from a patient, but I didn't read it then. I only read the summary in the back, and like everyone else, to me, it was like, I don't think I want to read a sad book. But having to read it now because of the book club and the timing, given all that is going on in my life personally, it's a bridge between sadness and reawakening. Like, okay, you have the time to appreciate certain things or see certain things differently. So it's almost like grab what you can when you can, because eventually, yes, everybody is going to die, but we don't know when and we don't know how. The one concept that I had a hard time with is I think that he said living funeral. I don't know about that one, but I have seen a video of some people having their living funerals, and I find it hard watching the other people who are there for the person who is alive but going to die. But I think that if it's something that that you want, then go ahead and have it. But for me, I don't know that it is something that. So given that I knew that I was going to die, I don't think that I would want to live in funeral. But to each his own. So if you want it, do it.
Just curious, everybody, before we really get into our questions here, what if you knew that in the next 2 years you would die? What is one thing that you would do different out of your ordinary?
I don't know that I would do anything differently than what I do now, because pre-pandemic, I used to work 6 days a week, right? I had a full-time job and a part-time job, and my goal for working was to pay up my school loan. But the first year, I had to file taxes, given how much I already get taxed, being in a high tax bracket, and I still had to pay taxes. So to me, it was like, I can't win, right? I went to school to be a good citizen, to not have to end up on welfare, but I'm not getting the benefit of it. But I still kept working those 6 days a week until the pandemic hit. And then I realized I had heard people say, oh, if you work over the 40 hours thing, you're just a number to your employee. But that did not really make sense until pandemic. So during the pandemic and post-pandemic, I work because I want to, not because I have to. So I haven't worked a full-time schedule since pandemic. I haven't. So I feel that pandemic gave me this choice to what I was forced to find more meaningful. I mean, I love what I do. I find my job meaningful, but I found more meaning in engaging in community and family in addition to going to work. So no, I don't work full time. I mean, if it comes to the point where I actively know that I have X amount of time to leave, certain things might change. But right now, I feel like I would make changes post pandemic that I feel like I'm participating in the things that I really want to participate in, community, family, and work. But I guess if, it comes to the point where you actually know that this is what you have to, how much time you have left to do, so it is might still change.
I don't know. I think I'm one of those people that said if they give you a timeline as to how much time you have left on Earth, right now, it's not something that a lot of us think about the process. So you will not know until you're actually in that moment to be able to figure out what it is that you're going to do. Like, I'm like, if I was giving, I'm like, I honestly don't know. I might panic or I might do, excuse my French, fuck it and live life to the best of my abilities. As Morrie said, after all, we're going to die. So listen, if I want to fly to Paris in the middle of the night and come back the next day, why not? Whatever you do, you maximize your time. I think you live life with no regrets, if anything. So I honestly I cannot answer that question because I don't know how I'm going to react to it, how long it's going to take me to process that information and get out of that phase to be able to do the things I'm going to do. So personally, that's not a question I can answer. I'm just going to pray and leave it to God.
Yeah, but I can say I think all of us will agree that if we knew when we were going to die, none of us will be clocking in.
Nope.
No one will say, oh, with the time I have, I'm going to go to work.
Work?
Not working is probably number one.
Absolutely.
Work, what's that?
You know, some people do enjoy that job. Like Morrie, he enjoyed what he did. So he went back the day they told him he had ALS, he went back to work.
Well, good for him. That's why my name is not Morrie, right? Because there's no way. I don't even want to go, and I still believe I have time left on earth, But for me, I just feel like I will take more risks. Seeing that I have such little time left, I would. I can afford. I see that I can afford to take more risks, if that makes sense.
Mhm, mhm. I mean, how much risk can you take knowing that your body is literally dying? Like as you age and your body is dying, there's not much you can do. How much risk can you take?
I mean, for me, I think I'll still go to work though. I may not work every day, like I said, I don't work full time. I haven't worked full time since pandemic. I love what I do, and as much as I need money to pay bills and live my life, I don't work to live. I live to work. I don't know if that makes sense.
Manny, you have unlocked the sensei face.
Because
come and teach us your ways. Because
I strongly believe that I was led into this field. I did not choose. Like, it's hard to explain. It was a kind of somewhat of a divine guidance.
It's like a calling type, like your purpose.
Yes, like I could go to work and have a really bad day, and I'll come to sleep, wake up the next day, and look forward to going to work. Like I said, I don't work full time. I have been offered full time since I quit, and I know that going full time will give me more money, but it's more stressful. Like I'll have to see 16 people, but now I see 4 people. It's less hours, but I feel fulfilled because I give it my all. So I may not work. Okay, say if I had 2 hours to, 2 years to go, I may not work every day. I don't work 6 days a week anymore. Pre-pandemic, I used to. So, yes, some things are gonna change, but if I could provide skilled occupational therapy that is not work, I still would do it. But for now, I provide it as work, and I love it. So yes, I may work 2 hours a week, but somehow, somewhat, I'll still find a way to do what I do.
So you're living in your Ikegai.
Yes, I
Yeah.
am.
That's lovely. Yeah.
That's wonderful. You know what they say? Say if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life or
Day in your
something
life.
like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That in itself, it's a huge blessing.
It is.
I mean, tying it back to the book, how does Morrie's appreciation for life's simple pleasures change our perspective on your daily routines and your simple joys?
For me, it
Simple.
teaches about living in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
There's something that I'm learning differently, that when they say you have a happy life, it's not, you don't have like a lump sum. You just don't have a lump sum of happiness. You get little pockets of joy. That's what makes a happy life. You're not just going to sit and wait for that time in your life when you're going to have 6 happy years. It's never going to come. And so it's taking, oh, today I ate a really good meal that made me feel good. You take that piece of joy. Oh, today I spoke with this person who helped me feel good. You take that piece of peace. You know, little pockets throughout the day. That's what sums up at the end of your life, that you can look back and say, I did live a happy life. I did live a fulfilled life. So that Murray just kind of exemplified it in his life for me. That just, even while he was dying, he still found joy in doing the things that he could do. Yes, he was worried about his illness, but that did not stop him from taking joy where he could get it. So I think that's a good thing a good perspective to have for your own life.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that regarding like daily things that you can do, I keep a gratitude journal, and I'm not the best at remembering to like take note of all the good things that have happened during the day. But I find that when I do and I review that journal at the end of the day, it actually feels good. It makes you think like, huh, life is not so bad after all. When you do little things, like for me, when I hear my kids laughing, I have to think about those little things and add them to my little gratitude journal, because it's like, wow, in this world of however many billion people, here I am, like perfectly healthy children, that go about life completely clueless and having the best day of their lives. And that kind of reframes my mindset a little bit. So finding those little things every day to be grateful for, that definitely helps with, lifetime happiness adding up. Yeah.
I like that gratitude journal. I don't think I've ever heard about it, but that's something I might indulge in. I'm like, oh, I like that idea. Just write down the little things that make you happy. That gives you joy.
And then going through your day and knowing that, oh, at the end of the day, I have to write my gratitude journal. So then you're forced to now pay attention and look for those things throughout the day. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I remember hearing about the gratitude journal from Oprah.
It does sound right up alley. Yeah.
Yeah, I think just the basic necessities of life, right? Air, water, food. Sometimes, even when you eat, how you throw away some, you throw away some food. I mean, I don't know about others, but sometimes I pause and I remember there are some people who are in war zones or in, poor countries where, on the developed countries where they don't have access to, food or drinking water, and they drink out of, wherever they get, the water from. So just those little things, man, give you so much appreciation to, what others are missing in life. So yeah. Just along those lines there, what is the importance of maintaining a meaningful connection, right? Just as Morrie and Mitch in the book, how can we apply that to our own personal life? Barbara, you could take that first.
I think there's a theme that throughout the book Morrie kept insisting on is that we should be intentional with everything you do in life, that you have to live your life very intentionally, I guess. And so it seems like when you read the book, he was one of those people that in everything he was very intentional. The people that he met, his students, him receiving his diagnosis of ALS, and him, rather than him wallowing in sorrow and just crying that he was given a death sentence, he's like, excuse my French, fuck this. All right, I'm gonna document this process of death and see how it feels, and I'm gonna be intentional about it. And the people that I bring into this journey, I'm gonna get to the point where when I eventually leave, nobody's gonna feel sorrow. I guess that's where the concept of the living funeral came in place. Somebody, I think a professor of his or colleague died suddenly, and he went and the people were reading all these amazing eulogies, and he could not understand because he said the person was not there to listen to it. Mm-hmm. So he went back home and sat down and decided to do a living funeral. You tell me how you feel about me. You tell me XYZ so I can hear it while I'm alive, not while I'm dead. So he was very intentional about everything that he did. And I think right when he was healthy and a student, that part of him, that's why he had the love, and that's why he had students come back to him, and people always come back to him for different things. So he was just intentional about everything. And I think that's something that we can apply in our relationship with, regardless of your family, your friends, whoever it is. Be intentional about your actions and what you do.
Yep. Just speaking of intentionality right there, within the book, we see that Morrie was very open about his illness and pending death. So, Nelly, what was your feeling or attitude towards mortality as you read this book, as Morrie, went through those 5 years interacting with people and everybody around, emotional, mentality, or attitude towards that?
My main attitude towards it really was, I felt bad for him. A lot of the times I always try to think of, if something were to happen to me where I couldn't use my hands, what would I do? In Morrie's case, I feel like it was his voice. And as his disease progressed and, he was having all this coughing and choking spells, that's when that reality was really setting in. Like I almost felt like that was what was most important to him, because it's how he communicated, how he connected to people. And he was finally losing that aspect of him. So it was kind of jarring, to think like, oh, if, for instance, an artist who paints, like if they lost their hands or they lost the ability to use their hands, like that's kind of like a slow and painful death for them as well. So his mortality and him having to face that, it was hard to read. It was hard to read and to see how he slowly arrived at the point where he couldn't speak. He had to take these long breaks in between his meetings. For me, I struggle with the aspect of my mortality. And the only thing that really helps me as a middle-aged adult, oh my God, almost middle-aged adult now, will be my spirituality, right? My faith and my relationship in God. Knowing that it's not up to me and trusting that he knows the end, right? He's already figured it out. That kind of surrender, that brings me peace when it comes to mortality and worrying is not going to fix anything, but knowing that he knows the time, he knows the day, he's already worked it out, and everything will be okay. The people I'm leaving behind will eventually be fine. It gives me a sense of freedom, almost, to surrender in my faith that way. So that's what helps me.
Nice. Oh, Mane, I feel as though take on this too as well, being that you're OT and you see a lot of people. I mean, most people are there, on that line of, I don't know if I'll get back to my usual mobility, or would I be lacking in this area for the rest of my life, right? So, with that, seeing people and also your understanding about how fecal life is, what's your understanding to, mortality as, um, what's his name?
Morrie.
Morrie, yeah, that's Morrie. Breaks it down here.
In my years of working with people on the range or the lifespan, and I came to this personal conclusion that I'm not scared of death. I'm scared of dying, because that dying process to me is scary. Sudden death is like, psh, that's it. Go to sleep and don't wake up. But knowing that, okay, you're sick and then you have to tell you have X amount of time to leave. It's almost like I don't know if he's always said it or he quoted somebody who said, every time I go to sleep, I die. And then when I wake up, I'm reborn. Which everybody technically dies when you go to sleep. I mean, when you wake up, you wake up. But that idea of having a terminal illness that you can't do anything about, and I've had a lot of patients, share the same sentiment. Like, I'd rather take this pain away suddenly than slowly. And I think I shared that with somebody and they said that was being insensitive. And I was like, no, because if you're dying, everybody around you is in that process of the pain. But if it's sudden, yes, the sudden impact hurts, but you heal faster. But then if it's this, you wake up the next day and you're like, no, this is the day. And you're going about wondering if this is the last time, knowing very well that worrying is not going to change the outcome. And he mentioned this aspect of being unattached or detached from the outcome.
Yeah.
Which is it's a concept that I agree with, and I've been trying to practice it, but it's not an easy thing to do. But once you get to the point where you can be unattached to the outcome, it helps you appreciate the moment even better. So I don't know if I answered your question, but
No, for sure. Sure.
Death over dying, but you don't always have the choice in that sense.
Yeah. I feel as though go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask, can we expand on that the aspect where he said to learn to detach and let your emotions penetrate you?
Yeah.
Because to me, it was a very huge part of the book, and it applies personally to us a lot, because his rationale was he was talking to the student, I can't remember his name, I just blacked out, about love, that there's one thing about love that we need to learn to love and let love come in. And when you're faced with anything, that the reason he's doing the things is we need to learn to detach and let an emotion penetrate you completely. That once you feel the full impact of it, then you get to detach. Like he says, you have to experience the whatever it is, pain, grief, love. You cry out as much as you want to cry. You let it out. And the goal is, at the end of it, you're going to sit and say, yeah, I have experienced this emotion, and I recognize what the emotion is. If you're faced with a similar situation, and then when you're faced with it, you're like, fuck it, I've been there, done that. Let's move on.
It is so true, and it's so powerful.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, I love that. Like, I had to rewind again. I said, hold on, I need to take notes, because it's very true. If I can experience that thing, that again, the scenarios are different. But if I've gone through something and I process it, whatever it is, if I'm faced with it again, I'm like,
You did not die.
yeah, I'm gonna be
But
all
did
right.
you die?
That's his point. You see, that was his point. Did you know that? That was what he was saying. You be all right. Let's move on.
Babs, mentioning that, actually, I have learned that is the core of what emotional intelligence is, right? It's being able to allow whatever emotion it is to go through you. Is what being emotionally intelligent is, understanding what emotion it is, understanding how it affects you, and understanding how you can deal with it or cope with it is what is the embodiment of what emotional intelligence is. And so if you don't, and it's a package deal, right? You cannot filter. There are no good emotions, there are no bad emotions. They're just emotions that happen. They serve you different purposes at different times. And so you cannot filter unpleasant ones in favor of pleasant emotions. You have to take the whole package. Because if you, guess what, you filter what is unpleasant, you filter the good ones too. So you have to be able to come to a place of acceptance where you can take it all.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's like he said, there were two things he said in the line. He said, one, once you feel that emotion, you filtered everything, good or bad, that emotion can never control you. And number two, once you detach yourself from that emotion, that's how you live your life with no regrets. You live it to the fullest. And that's where he is right now. And that's why he's allowing people to process it then. Because when that happens, you have seen him going through it and you have been with him. So when he actually goes, it's like, you know what? I mean, we went through it with him. So at this point in time, you're not feeling the impact of it. And I'm like, that's just something. It was, I don't know.
That was very powerful.
It was very powerful to me. It was very powerful. So.
And the thing with it is it's two-faced, right? You have to let the emotion go through you, and then you have to detach from the outcome. Because you can let the emotion go through you, but then you have this expected outcome, and then if it's not, then there's disappointment. Which for me, that's my challenge, right? Having letting the emotion go through me, I had to learn to process that through therapy. But I have to constantly remind myself, just because I'm letting this emotion go through me,
it's not the end.
I have to free myself from the outcome, especially when I want to share like a vulnerable experience. There is this expectation that the other person will respond in a certain way. So I'm already attaching myself to the outcome, even though I'm letting myself go through the process, the feeling, or let the feeling go through me. And I'm just like, remember, you had to detach from the outcome. You had to detach from it. And over time, it becomes easy.
Yeah.
That's the same thing was said in the book, the last book, the 12 years that we just read, right? It says you have no control. You have no control over the results.
The outcome.
Yes.
Only the process.
Yes.
So that emotion might take you out. To be honest with you, it might take you out.
Yeah.
But you have no control over that. But the main thing is you are familiarizing yourself
with it.
You're allowing your body do what your body does, and you're being human.
I love that. It's just like
I've actually listened to the book like 4 times.
like more practically was like whatever wants to happen, go and stand at the top of the west and shout, "Fuck it," and let's do it and move on. That I love energy.
In his case, he knew that he didn't have any control of the outcome. He was eventually going to die. So,
like,
I feel like it's easy. I'm not saying not to say that it was easy for him to do it, but it's harder for us who don't have like a time limit to say that. Okay,
but we all do. We just don't know.
We just don't know. And it's just, I think when he spoke this particular thing, it's just when they tell you. You hear a lot of people say, if you meet some people who just believe, they'll say they live their life without regrets. You wake up every day, you live today like it's your last day. You go to sleep peacefully, you live without regrets. And I feel like Morrie, in him saying that was him telling you, live every day without regrets. You process things, you do it, you move on, so you get to enjoy and live life as you should, as it was given to you, because it's a blessing to me. He's telling you that your life is a blessing. Enjoy it and not be worrying about little things that surround you. So,
but that can also be controversial in the sense that the concept of what YOLO, you only live.
YOLO, you only live once.
Yeah, so imagine that you live to 78 and you have no savings or retirement. Oh, but yeah, you gotta figure out how you handle Living with no regret, or living like today is your last, only to wake up that
Mhm.
90 years down the road, you have to do more living.
Yeah, we could be saying all these things. Some people's living is actually bombing a whole country, and that's their own living. You know, what I mean, having that fulfillment to to things. I know I'm taking to extreme, but I'm just saying. You know, who are we to tell that
Only
person
you.
that moment? Who are we to tell that person that moment that that's not their dream that they're trying to live? You know, I'm just saying. I'm just
Only you.
I'm just saying. But Morrie said something in the book that I really wanted to pick you guys' brain to. I didn't have this, in my list of questions, but I think I could go rogue here a little bit since we're on that topic. And it goes like this. He said, "You must have children if you want to experience true love and bond, though he doesn't force it on anyone." Now, I'm kind of curious here. So for those who don't get to actually have kids, is he trying to say they'll never experience true love on this earth? I mean, somebody help me here, because when I went through that line, I had to go back and listen to it about 5 times to try and see if my brain will have works. But
I mean, I think that if it's something that you so desire, because like I said, one thing I enjoy about my work is I always ask my patients, to share any wisdom or anything like that, and it is a selfless act to have kids, and you would only know selflessness if you have kids. So if it's something that you desire,
But not having it doesn't make you selfish. Let me clarify.
right,
Mhm.
right, it doesn't.
Mhm.
But you would experience, from what my patients would say, you would experience a level of selflessness that is different.
See, I don't know. I'm like, I don't have kids, so I was gonna let Nelly go. But when I listen to that, right? Are you guys familiar with agape love?
Agape love.
Yes. To me, especially when a child is born as a baby, the love a parent has for a child is that kind of agape love, because you give them the love, you don't expect anything back. It's very selfless. You just keep giving. And even some parents, even as a child, specifically African parents, or let me not say mothers and their boys and fathers and their daughters, but I'm not trying to create issues. But you give constantly, and a lot of the times, a lot of parents, I don't know, Nelly, you can chime in this. They give the love that they give their parents. They don't necessarily expect that to be given back to them. I don't know if I'm making sense. Again, I don't know, because I've not had children of my own, but I do have nieces and nephews. And the way I be loving them sometimes, it's not something I'll expect them to do the same thing for me, especially when they're kids. I attributed that to agape love. Of course, agape love is you loving somebody. It's like you're denying yourself to give somebody else pleasure, to give somebody else love, right? And you keep giving them, you don't expect. Like, kids don't know what they're left and the right. You tell them, don't go and jump over there, they'll still go and jump. And when they fall, you will say, okay, I want you, but you pat them and show them love and speak them in a very nice way. You don't expect them to know that, because they're still kids, they're not at that age that they can figure it out. So when he said, you don't know true love until you have kids and born, that's what he was referring to, that the love you have for your children is the kind of selfless love that you don't expect. It's just like God and us, because the kind of love that God has for us is the agape love. It's like, that is it. He loves you regardless of your flaws and everything you're going. You might falter and fall 200 times, he'll still pick you up and lift you up. He might correct you, but he'll pick you up and lift you up and still love you the way it is. And that's what he was referring to.
Yeah. And I think that aspect of agape love, what I have experienced in the very short 8 years, is my 8-year anniversary today.
Oh yeah, that is true.
In the very short 8 years, I would say motherhood has given me the deepest understanding of God's love, the deepest understanding I could have ever gotten from any Bible that I've ever read. Because just my interaction with them, then I imagine, I'm like, wow, is this how God really sees us? Like, he's like, don't go over there. We're still going to go.
Yeah.
You go, you cry, he's still going to pick you up. Yeah, he might smack you. punish you a little bit, but he's still gonna love you. It's the deepest understanding of God's love. Now, I don't know if that is the only way to experience true love and bond, because I've seen the way my sisters love my children. Yeah, it's deep. It's deep. It's a bond that sometimes I cannot explain myself. So I don't think that having children is the only way to feel that, for sure.
I think in Morrie's defense, right, he goes on to say that it doesn't take away from you experiencing those things. It's just a different version of it, right? That you would, being a parent, to me, I see it as that's the highest obligation anybody can ever take on themselves, right? And yes, you're right. You can, just because you're not directly a parent, you can equally have such an intense love towards somebody else like that. But then it's just, having a child is just a different version of it. So it's not like it's locked in, but it's just different expressions of love, if you ask me. So I think that's when he goes later on to talk about it, when people ask him to say, should I have kids or should I not have kids? He says, it depends on you. But whether you have, if you have kids, you're going to experience something else. If you don't have kids, you will still experience it. It's all love, just different forms that comes in. So,
Mhm.
But you know, our African parents, they look at their kids as future investment.
absolutely.
Yeah, mama can stick for old age. So I'm giving you the love now, you're gonna give it back to me
Pay me
later.
back.
It's true. You hear a lot of parents say that, oh, like this whole online debate about people with kids and people with no kids, they're always like in the comments talking about like, oh, who's gonna visit you when you're old? That things like, is that why you're having kids?
And that people who have kids and they don't, like I said, I work in
And
nursing.
nobody
They may
shows
not
up.
visit you.
Yeah,
There are
so
lots of people who have kids and nobody shows
because if
up.
you want to, don't be like, I'm having them so they'll visit me when they're old, because
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're
so
old,
that's
sure.
an example of you. I wouldn't say that you did not love your kids unconditionally, but you
Most
loved your
conditional.
kids expecting something in return. So
Yeah, that's my
does
life
that,
interest.
would that really make it
They did
true
not
love?
detach.
Yeah,
Yes,
my,
do not detach from the
my
They
return
did
on
not detach
investment.
from the outcome.
My return on investment. My
right.
life is something. Real African parents, nah. But hey, it is what it is. Back in the day, that's what it was now.
That's what, yeah, children were actually made for, to help make money, to work on the farms. The more kids you had, the more workers you had, the more money you made. That's what, so,
Yeah, more return on
it's been
investment.
going for generations now. And it's stopping with a lot of us people who are choosing not to have kids, in this generation. So, things are shifting.
I mean, there are people who are choosing to have kids, but they're planning their own retirement. Like Morrie, when he mentioned that
Yep.
he's not expecting his kids' life to
To call.
60 because he's like that. But if they come by, it's great. If they don't, it's not holding against them. But their parents will hold it against the kids for not stopping their life, because I gave you life and my life is ending and you're nowhere to be found. Yeah.
To that point there, let me ask this then. Let's say, for example, the parent was rich and then they decide that, you know what, my riches I'll not give to the kid. Would the kid feel any different?
For me
Well, what would
personally,
that change?
yeah, for me personally, I'm of the opinion that your money, your choice, right? I mean, but before I had to come to that place, because before I was of the entitlement that, I'm the child, you gave birth to me, so I'm entitled to your money. But when I chose a career path that the whole world was against, in therapy, my first therapy experience, she told me that, look, you made a choice, you live with the consequences. Your parents' money, their choice. So if they're saying that they only pay for school because you have to do this and you're treating, so that was an eye opener for me. So I was like, yeah, your money, your choice, my life, my choice, my consequence. So I feel like if kids want to be entitled to their parents' money, then they have to, you know, walk the line the parents want them to walk, and if you don't, then you don't get nothing.
Forget
And
that
even if
one.
I mean, if
I am. Listen, let me tell you something. I was sitting somewhere wherever baby sits. You decided to call me into existence and bring me on this earth. Now
didn't
you've made
choose.
all that money you make, and you're telling me that you cannot put me in the wheel. I did not ask to be here. I better be in that wheel. Now detach yourself from the outcome of that money expeditiously. Because no, I'm very
Wow,
serious.
you attach yourself to the outcome of their money.
No,
There you
because
go.
I'll tell you why I will not detach. Because you are the very reason I am here. They did not ask my permission. Nobody asked me my consent. I did not even get to choose where I wanted to go. So you know what? You bet your ass I'm entitled to that money. Now, whether or not you give it to me is a different
different
ballgame.
thing.
But I feel like
Entitled.
it's selfish for parents. To me, I feel like it's like, why you have all this money and you're not giving it to you? If they want to squander, let them squander. You'll be dead and gone anyhow. Like, you brought them. The role of the parent doesn't end because I'm an adult. So
Yeah.
better go and put me in that wheel.
There was this thing going on Instagram where a guy was suing his parents for giving birth to him without his consent. And I was just like, wow, that is wow.
I mean, the issue of inheritance and entitlement, I think goes
Oh my God.
goes way back to the Bible that we're all entitled to inheritance, and so it's like an expectation. Like, I mean,
Even God promised us his
even
children
God promised us
something. Who are you
inheritance.
not to give me
Why
something?
not? That's
Are
the
you
point.
mad?
Yes.
So if you put it like that, isn't part of the 10 Commandments obey your father and mother? So if you live your own life not obeying your parents, but then you want to use that biblical thing on me, and also tell you that you did not obey me, so I don't see any reason why I should give you this inheritance, then
Because it won't be a question if you were obeying the whole time.
What happened to your unconditional and selfless love?
That's how you know that love is conditional.
If you are
God's
making
love,
that based
everybody
on
else's
how I
love
did, it
is
means that your
conditional.
love was not pure.
No,
It was contingent upon the fact that I
yes.
do this.
Yes.
the love is very pure, but in a sense, it's also me not rewarding bad behavior, because I see that in giving you this inheritance, you squander it like the prodigal son.
But
And he came back and he was
I'm
forgiven.
glad you brought that out.
Hold on,
Let us
hold on.
digress that way.
Now, hold on. Plot twist though. You never know. I might be like Morrie and I have 5 years to live, and you might not come back in time to see me alive.
So you're going to change your will?
And
You know, like, I mean, I'm just saying.
listen, I'm not saying that you should cast pearls to swine, right?
Mhm.
But you can make allocations for that person and say, okay, you can have this like work or start a business, or like you can't just be rich and give all your millions to charity and talk about my kids should fend for themselves. That's just stupid. Even like you mentioned, the prodigal son, he gave it, squandered, he came back and they still gave him some more. So that, listen, if you are not ready to do it unconditionally, don't have children.
No,
That's it. That, to me, that's the rule of the game. If you are not ready, don't have it. Don't come here and tell me something about squander money.
So you guys mentioned something a little bit earlier about parents back in the day having kids and like insurance, right? Okay. Fair enough. That was the mentality back then. In today's day and age, it's more of not looking at kids as your insurance and actually working for your own and things, of that nature. Do you, one, two-part question, do you think that geographical location has something to do with that? In terms of, okay, you were born, like, we're all born in Cameroon, and I don't know if at all of us are ages right now, I don't know if we would have had, quote unquote, the careers that we have back home if we're still in Cameroon, right? Our parents would have still been working by now will still be in the workforce, and we're looking to them like, yo, retire so we could take some of those, those positions that you guys are in to be able to make Aaron Smith. But since they cannot, we struggling to do this or that, but we're not in a supposing career, right? So would it be different in that sense? And then the second part of the question, wait, what was the second part of the question? Anyways, wait, let's do the first part first, and then let's remember the second part.
They say to whom much is given, much is expected. You're making more money with an expectation to. I mean, yeah, if we're in Cameroon, I don't know that we'll be having, the jobs that we have here because they are not available in Cameroon. So there's the expectation that, if you can help out, you help out. If you're back home, chances are you will not have the job that you have here. So I don't know that they will be expecting you to help out the same way that they will be expecting you to help out now that you have the resources or the money. I mean, that's my take on it.
Yeah, the reason why I ask that question is because, I was talking middle, like there is those careers or like lawyer, doctor, engineer, or disgraced their family, right? And for longest now we kept saying, no, there's so much that we can do outside of those to make a good, to earn a good living. And we're singing that. And now there's a new generation of folks coming up who take things like study of the eyelashes, why the eyelashes flicker up and down. They go and get a degree in that. And then they come outside to the job market, there's nothing to do. And at what age is it looking at parents to support them? So if the parent cannot look at you as the insurance policy, why do you keep at your big age looking back at your parents to be dependent? Even though T said that, I don't care what age I am, I'll still be your child.
But that's true now.
Okay, no, you're still a child, but there's a certain age limit that financial support cuts. It's a certain age limit.
What's the age limit?
I don't agree. Because you see me, if I'm broke, guess who I'm calling? Exactly.
Is it that you're broke if the foreign provided everything for you to get education, all whatnot?
Because life happens sometimes, right? And to your point, it's not just I don't think it's a geographical thing. I just think it's a mindset that I've seen even here, right? Yeah. It's like, oh, as soon as somebody, kind of pops up top, then everybody starts looking at them. Each person will have to manage their dynamic, how they see fit. Because you do that, people will run you to the ground, even the people that you love. But each person would just have to manage their scenario, how it's going for them. If you let people run you to the ground, hey, they will. Some people take their shine and run away from the whole environment and go somewhere else where nobody knows them just to get away. Each person will manage it, as they like. But now we are going to the part where we're learning this new generation, we're learning fulfillment, something that our parents did not know. Our parents settled. They compromised on a lot of things. But we are coming up, we're learning fulfillment. What business did my mother and grandpa have fulfillment in a career?
And they really didn't have options, though. They didn't
have a lot of options. So yeah, so now we're looking into that thing, and that goes to when even you look at Mitch, top sports journalist and all, but he was empty on the inside.
Yeah, he was.
He was missing that fulfillment on the inside, and that's something that older generations know nothing about. And so they're looking at us like these people are smoking some kind of grass. Like, why are you talking about fulfillment? But again, it's a gamble, right? And sometimes you're blessed enough to find fulfillment where you make money. And for the most part, that doesn't happen. So we have to take a page from our parents' book sometimes and just suck it up, because the bills have to be paid. You have to take care of things. So, life no balance. That's all I can say.
To that point, right? I cannot go and slave myself and make things happen. For you to come and tell me that fulfillment has to happen. Okay, which one is it? Do you want to be fulfilled and broke? Or do you play and have the now? Which one is it? Because if you want fulfillment, don't think that me going and struggling and breaking my back will finance your fulfillment. No, go out there too and break your back and fulfill yourself. Then let's really see what fulfillment really means.
Oh, that is true, because it will look like you are catching cruise while I'm doing all the hard work, right?
Yeah.
Like, why am I the one who has to sacrifice all this and you get to enjoy it?
Yeah, because
Like I said,
I'm not going to be the one that they say you spare the rod and spoil the child. You grow up and you have your own kids and you cannot fend for them. And then you're going to start talking about, oh, my parents didn't show me the ropes, this and the third. God forbid. No, God not forbid, but God, I don't know the opposite of that, but God should make me be alive to hear one of my offspring say something like that. You know, I'll help them, send them back from where they came from, even though they have experienced life, you know, in a major way. But anyways, I think we digress. Let's get back to
So there was something that Morrie said to Mitch when they were having a conversation about fulfillment and the jobs. His rationale when he kept asking, he asked, I don't remember the exact chapter, but he said that the reason that he thinks society, a lot of people feel unfulfilled in their jobs and everything they do is because society allows us to put values in the wrong things that leads us to have disillusioned lives. That he's like, why do you think you're unfulfilled in whatever you're doing? When he was talking about, it's because you were entering, the reason that you feel that way is because when you entered there, you had like an illusion of how it was going to turn out. And you're going to enter there now and you're struggling. Then you're coming and you're telling me X, Y, and Z. In a very polite way. It's like he was telling him to get out. Like the reason that we suffer, which it applies to us a lot, that society creates or makes us we put values into the wrong things in life. And then when it pans out not the way that we wanted, we start crying that I'm not saying like you're depressed or you're going through, it's not fulfilling X, Y, Z.
What expectation?
Yes.
Of what it was going to do.
How do you quantify what you want to do if you don't value it? I mean, if you don't look at it that way, though. How do you know you have the strength or not to take up on that challenge that you're about to if you don't do that?
it's a dicey situation if you ask me, right?
Yeah.
The scale tips either way. Unfortunately, sometimes it's not always balanced, right? But you have to, like, at the end of the day, we live in a capitalist society and you have to get things done. So you would have to find fulfillment somehow. Probably not from that job. Now, I'm not saying you should go and work somewhere that will kill you. Obviously, you're not, that's not what I'm saying, but you would have to find that balance somewhere else. And like I said, it is a blessing. There are very few people who really make a good, decent living, called from top to bottom, off of what they are fulfilled in. It doesn't happen for just the majority of the people. And so you have to find your fulfillment somehow. I feel like you feel more emptiness when the rest of your life is void.
Mm-hmm.
So you've poured everything that you are into this job. And now you can't balance the scales. Now you're going off the rail. So I feel like if we start learning those little things that Morrie said, finding your pockets of joy throughout the day, finding your peace in other people, having that relationship, building that relationships with people, learning to let go, stop, review, all those things, those little things would balance out for where fulfillment. But you cannot build all of your fulfillment into a career or into a job. I just think that's not realistic.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, Nelly, just speaking of those little things that T was mentioning there, Morrie and Mitch met every Tuesday, hence the title of the book. creating a ritual that deepen their bond, right? What rituals do you have, or could you create to enhance your relationships? Mane and could you guys take on that, please? And Nelly, could you start first, please?
Yeah, for me, little rituals that I have outside of my work, just to enrich my relationships with my close-knit people. Phone calls. It could be driving into work. I hop on a call with one of my sisters, and it lightens my mood. I go into work with a positive attitude. When I'm leaving work and I'm driving home, if I hop on a phone call with another sister, all the stress of work just kind of melts away. So I would say those are my little rituals that I try to incorporate throughout my days, just making sure that I'm also maintaining those relationships that kind of enrich me.
My next. For me, I leave out my top two love languages. I love quality time and I love acts of service. So I seek out opportunities to live it out. I love deep, thought-provoking conversations. So I have it when I can, or when the people who are open to that type of, what do I call it? That type of conversation. Most of the time I could be going through my day and I just think of somebody and I know that phone call is not really my thing, but I will hop on a phone call if I have to. But just dropping a text here or there and say, okay, thinking of you, hope your day is going okay. It's I find that I am very intentional, even at work, if I'm working with a patient, because with the change post-pandemic, we were required to work and do paperwork, which is one of the reasons why I quit working full-time, because I could make money for the company, but it would stress me out, and the patients are on the, tail end of the whole thing. And I feel like I got into this to give patients what they deserve. So not working full-time allows me to be present. And I feel like if I can be present at work, it's easier for me to be present out of work. So any opportunity that I get to, and I think it also comes to me easy, because growing up, I think it's an African thing where you listen, you don't talk. So I'm more of a listener than a talker. I think I do more talking at work and during this book club than anywhere ever in my life. So I'm a listener. I listen for what is not said more than for what is said. So I feel like when I'm there, I am there. I'm not anywhere else.
Got it. Okay. Therese. We learn from Morrie's approach. What can we learn from Morrie's approach to his illness that can be applied to other challenges in life?
I think his aspect of, well, for me, how he faced his mortality, right? To me, I don't just see it as in terms of his breath, like actual leaving. I see it in terms of everything else in life. Everything is destined to come and go. Whether it's the people that I care about, whether it's the little pockets of joy that I find every day, it gave me the perspective of love it when you have it, and when it's time, let it go. And I am not very good at letting go. That's something that I struggle with. But listening to that, it's like, there's this saying, they say, it's better to have loved and lost it than not loved. I used to hate that statement.
Oh, I love that.
I would rather have not known what this is than to know it and lose it. It makes no sense. But that is the whole point of life, right? It's that to come to a place, it teaches me to come to a place of acceptance. I'm trying to learn that a lot lately in my life, and seeing from that, just come to a place of acceptance of certain realities of life that I cannot change, especially things that I cannot change. Just to accept it and hold on tight for as long as I have it. And when I do see that it's time to let go, accept that new phase
Mm-hmm.
and let it go.
Like detachment.
Now, whether or not I will apply it is another story, but that's what I learned. I'll just be honest. Let me not sound here like a saint and somebody else like, oh my God. No, I'm still struggling with it. I just have learned it. Now, I got to put more elbow grease into it.
Well, and the thing I've learned about people who don't understand, unattached to the outcome, it's people. Well, for the few people I've had conversations who don't understand it, they see it as being, I don't know if aloof is the word. It's almost like you're floating in the clouds, right? If somebody doesn't understand, okay, if somebody sees it that way, then it's even hard for me to explain what it really means. But yeah, I see how it could present as being, up in the clouds, like, okay, this is what it is, I'm going to enjoy it now, and if it's not there tomorrow, then that's it. But I feel like when you get to the point where you can really practice that, it's very freeing.
And it helps to have some faith, like something
Oh,
that you believe in that's greater than yourself. Yeah,
yes.
it really does help. The surrender is so freeing. It really is. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm. I think that as things happen in life, it's okay to go through the motions of things, but to stay in that, that's really where the problem lies. Like things will happen, of course, but to just stay in the funk 24/7, that's where it's not healthy for the average Joe. I mean, there's some people who like to soak in misery. I think it gives them a high, or it turns them on. I don't know how that's possible, but for those few folks, that's just how they are, and we accept them how they are. Some of them drink, their
And
sorrows
people
away.
who listen to sad songs when they are sad, I'm like, no. I mean, that is not
Please,
what
if
I
listen,
can
if you're
feel
going
the
to
sadness, that's good, but do not add sad music to it, please.
it hits
Maybe that
different.
helps them get through the emotion.
Yes,
It does.
it hits different.
Shit.
Especially heartbreak song, it hits different.
I need
It's different.
instrumentals. Give me instrumental. Even though I know the words to the song, don't add the words to it. Just give me the instrumental. I'll process my feelings better that way. Don't add. So
It's like
Add
that
lyrics.
you're like, yes, you know my emotions. That's what they did.
no, thank you.
Oh God.
Everyone must be the only salty heartbreak person in this earth, because when I go through that, I really don't like my whole motion is I really don't care. It's like it's like you flip a page, like phew, the
Oh,
page.
wait, you have one of those?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, so it's just a page, phew, and the page flips and you move it. Don't have time to really stand there processing much. Just keep going, man. C'est la vie. Keep going.
And
Such as
I'm always envious of people like you, right? My best friend is just like that. Like he would drop it in a heartbeat, and I'm so jealous of that. It's like I need to be able to do that, but I need my time to stew, process, and get out. Now, while I'm stewing, I know that I cannot stay in there, so I reach out to people that I know will not let me stay there. But I have to. If I have to get over, I have to go through that whole 9 yards. If I'm gonna really leave it behind, I have to. It's just some of us are just like that. I have to go through that process and then come out. Be
I mean,
like, okay, I did my due diligence, but like just doing like, you know what? I mean,
Drop it like it's
I'm
hot.
like, how do you do that?
it's not like we go through the motions of it. We go through the motions of it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, if somebody is saying that this is what is, there is nothing you can do to change that. So you accept immediately, and then You just keep doing what Rome was not built in one day. You know what I mean? So there's no amount of processing about that process right now or in the next week that would change anything right now. Um and then yeah, maybe too, it just coupled with the fact that maybe in those situations, part of me was also, the feeling was mutual. So it's like
Good riddance.
Peace.
I believe that part.
so but anyways, moving forward. Barbara, how does Mitch's changing perspectives on success challenges your definition of success and achievements?
How does Mitch's change in success?
Yeah, changing perspective on success challenges your definition of success and achievement. Because remember, he used to not be so focused in school, and then later on, adapted to, oh, I need to be this successful person, and then having a kid of his own and a wife, you know what I mean, and just had focus on
Make
success
more money.
until
Make more money.
until her Morrie, what's his last name? Schweizer, the news, everything started shifting for him. So how did all of that, those events change your perspective on success and achievements?
So there was something that it was one of the key points that I think Morrie said when I said you put values in the wrong things that leads to you having like a disillusioned life. So Mitch was one of those people that he thought material wealth and I guess success was going to give him the fulfillment and happiness he was looking for. That's why when he got married, like he first of all started as his job, and then he went to the sports journalist. He thought when he worked with the artists, if he got the cars, the houses, everything, it was going to give him a sense of fulfillment and completion, but he was lacking in it. And so when he met Morrie and they started having the conversations every Tuesday with the ALS and everything else, the way Morrie looked at life, it brought him to the realization that material things and I guess success doesn't give you that. You have to find, as I pretty much discussed the entire course of this conversation, little things around you that gives you that fulfillment. It's not going to be your job or your money. Because right now, there's a statement that they say there's nothing that money cannot buy, Sha. There's nothing that money can buy you happiness. And the attribution is that if I'm feeling sad, I have money to go and buy a flight to go somewhere to chop life. That's going to give me the happiness. But if you dig deep down, it's actually not true in a sense, because there's still a void that I think personally that sometimes, even though we say that, there's still a void in us that we're missing. Because I can buy the flight and go there, but what's the point if I'm drinking a mimosa and I'm crying inside and cursing whoever the person is? I'm not at peace. You understand? I don't have that peace and joy, and it has to come from it. And it was something that Mitch was searching for as long as he could remember, and he did not find it until he met a dying man and it gave him a different perspective in life. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Not for sure. I mean, with that. So let me ask you guys this: do you guys, when this thing called life, as you're living life, I don't know if you think about your last of days. Not to say that's coming anytime soon, but when it do come, I don't know if you're thinking of that. Have you thought about what your funeral would look like? Would you want an empty funeral, or would you want a packed funeral? Because I do have this thought process that a lot of people go through life, and maybe sometimes they have this, like, building relationships, right? Maybe some people get abused in relationships because they want to keep that, thinking that, oh, in the end, I need all these people to come give me a befitting burial so I could go in peace, right? So that's why I would take this, or experience this. But do you guys have that thought in mind? Like, okay, I'm in this friendship because X, Y, and Z. I don't want to let it go because X, Y, and Z. Thinking.
I'll be dead. How will I know who's there?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I have thought about how I want to be laid to rest. I mean, it's non-traditional, and in the African community,
You
I
want to be
find a lot.
cremated? It sounds like you
Yeah,
want to be
I
cremated.
want to
I
be
figured.
cremated on the ashes in the ocean so I can be
I figured.
everywhere.
I figured.
So that's why I say it's not gonna fly in the African community because they're like, what? Because I shared it with my coworker. And he was like, that's such a painful way to die. I'm like, I'm already dead.
That's such a
But I
painful.
feel like, yeah, that's what he said. He's Haitian. I'm like, did you hear what I said? I said, I'll already be dead. So, but he's like, no, that's a painful thing to watch. And I can get it, right? You're being burned at a pretty high degree. But eventually we all turn to dust. Or even if you're not cremated I'm just thinking you want to spend all this money to get a casket. And if you're buried in the US, you probably have to pay for the piece of land that you're buried in. But if you cremate me and put me in the ocean, I'm everywhere. Evaporate, fall as rain. And like I said, it's not going to fly in the African community. So I'm just like, I'll be dead. So I don't know who will be at the funeral. Now, if I throw a party, maybe the people will come. Say if I'm alive and I'm celebrating like a milestone birthday, now I can have an idea of who might be there when I die. But then there might be people who will show up that may not show up for the birthday, but I wouldn't know. So I don't know that I am holding on to friendships or relationship because I'm expecting them to show up when I die.
I mean, if you die, people will show up if that's what the person is worried about. Don't worry about it. They will show up because they always show up at the funeral, right? But what you should be worried about is, are they showing up in your life while you're alive? And I feel
Exactly.
like
I'm dead. You're no use to me.
to me, I would want that if I'm gone, there should be a room of people with memories and stories about me that they can share with each other, right? That would be, it's a comforting thing for me to think that I would leave those people with good memories and nobody would have to lie on the eulogy. You know what I mean? A couple of years, I think it was when my mom turned 60, she gave us a call and she was like, okay, I want y'all to write a eulogy. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, you people wait till someone is dead and you come and say all these wonderful things. And I'm not even there. She's like, everybody writes a eulogy. Yes, she said, and for my birthday. And I was like, I called my siblings. I was like, what is wrong with your mother? She was like, I'm not joking. So we had to. So it's something that we tend to do like almost every year for her birthday. She was like, tell me something nice about me. Like you're giving a speech, like I wasn't. So it's like, at the end of the day, that is what I would want. That people would remember me for the kind of person that I was, the energy I brought to the room, my services, how I make them feel is what I would expect if I'm gone. And that people would genuinely come to the funeral because they really want to say goodbye. Not because it's like, oh, this girl died, this person died, let me go there.
See. See what the funeral is like.
Right. And you know when a person is loved, when people are voluntarily sending in eulogies. And like I feel like that's the kind of funeral that I would like to have. And I hope that I get it.
Man, that part about your mom saying that they should write the eulogy and send it. No problem. Since you want to start giving commands, I have my own to count. Which is very simple. Start giving one inheritance, small.
Which inheritance? We don't have. Please, in our house we don't have us inheritance. We don't have it like that. If you're waiting for inheritance, you're in the wrong family.
We don't have to have it like that. There's this particular shirt and suits and pants that I want. Just start giving. My mother, hey, there's this pot that you've been cooking in that I want in my own kitchen too. You might just pass it this way.
She's still using it while she's here. So when she's gone, you can go get it. And I think that's a good thing, though. See, I think that for people's birthdays, we should say, we should give them their flowers, right? We should, rather than saying
Maybe
happy
not
birthday.
call it a eulogy, but
Yeah,
that was
don't
just
call it a
that was
eulogy,
just a way
but
for me to
yeah.
explain it. But
So let people know that, because rather than waiting when they're dead and the people who are living get to hear it, let them get to hear it. Because when I go on and what Instagram or what you call it, WhatsApp, and people just have these dry birthday messages, it gets to me for real. I mean, I may not post an elaborate thing, but I would text the person directly and lay it all out, because I'm like, this might be the only time in the entire year that may be like, oh, by the way. But occasionally I may just drop a nice or kind message to remind someone that, oh, this is what I thought about you, this is how you make me feel, and blah blah blah. I think we should do more of that.
yeah, I take it upon
Even
myself
with
to make
even
sure
with
I
the
people like,
eulogy, people don't read it. Like, if I go to a funeral, people know me. People
me too.
be
I'm like,
waving
let
and
me
I'm
see
shocked.
what
I'm
this
reading
person was about.
Yeah, I'm reading everything everybody has said, because we may learn about somebody differently from different people. Because the way I experience UT is not the same way that Bible was, and things like that. So you get to learn about somebody differently. So if people have their, birthday shout out and all of that, go all out. We're talking about happy birthday, happy many more years. We all want many more healthy years and all that stuff. Say more.
Don't
Don't
post
come only on my birthday, oh, please. That's
don't post
another
on
thing.
social
I
media.
don't want it only on my birthday. Every day you should make me feel special if you're
Oh
in my
my
life.
God, that's asking for too much now.
No,
Every
I'm
day?
not saying every day, but it's like you don't have to wait for my birthday to do that, right?
Yeah, but I feel
Because
like
I feel like
birthday-
birthday is for everyone else. That's a public day.
True,
Like,
but
what about why
how
do I have
often?
to wait up until my birthday to hear you say what I mean to you? You get what I'm saying? Like, I
But do you
really
know
would
how
not.
many people? Do you know how many people have that mean to them? Just take it on your birthday
Okay, you
and.
have 365. I'm talking about my core people,
Oh, okay, okay.
right?
No,
If you
I
have
think
decided to be in that circle, that's a responsibility you undertake. No, I'm serious. It comes.
So, like, okay, how often do you want it? Quarterly?
I
You
don't.
know?
You don't have to put a time on it, but just be intentional, right? Because
Yeah.
you're building a relationship here,
and
right?
also
And if you're not
speaking on
intentional, what are we
just
doing?
to add to what you're saying, I think sometimes when you have a core group of people that you're in constant communication with, you get in the habit of just talking about your day to day. Every now and then, it feels good when someone realizes that you're overcoming something that you've struggled with, right? And they take a moment to say, you know what? I like the way you really handled this. And then they give you, those props in that moment, and not waiting to your birthday to say, oh, you're so strong, you're so this, you're so that, but telling you right then and then when it happens. So.
It's good. It's a good thing to cultivate.
Oh my God, I still tell my friends that. I would just text you. Like, yo, Alpha, let's talk. I like it. It's very uplifting.
It is.
But please, it is. It's just, it gives like a sense of encouragement, and it just helps pushes you. You never know what some people are going through. Yeah, like I have a friend of mine that I just say, when I say like for too long that I haven't spoken to her, like I send her, I always tell people that that I love you by sending threatening messages. I'll say her like, Madam, you have stayed this long, you have not spoken to me, and I'm afraid.
You know,
Or something. Yeah, something. And then I'll proceed just like, you just not love you. I'm just checking up to see and everything else. And she told me recently, like I do that constantly, I've done it over the years, but this year she told me that, do I realize that every time that I always send her those messages, it just so happens that she either had a bad day or it was just something that was going on, and the message was just so uplifting, because one is the fact that I'm carrying her in the beginning of it and then I express love at the end of it. So it's like she starts off laughing and then she goes like, it's very sweet, and it's that people don't realize that it's just the little things that we do sometimes unplanned, unintentional, and you just think you're doing it. I'm just doing it for doing sake, but you don't know what it means to that other person. So yes, when T said, please tell me how I feel every day, don't wait till my birthday. I understand.
Yeah, and one of those gifts that when you give, you get. It's like you feel better knowing that you made somebody's day better.
So So, I mean, in terms of that relationship aspect, right?
Yeah.
What is your take on just relationship with people in general? Because seeing how Morrie guided Mitch through his relationship with his brother and how his brother was dealing with his own stuff, like in your own world, how do you navigate relating to people that you care about, and then those people having their own issues and you having your own issues? Like, how do you make it all come together?
Comedy.
That's a good one.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with the movie Jumanji.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of
I'd
it, but I
actually
haven't watched
never
it.
watched the original one till maybe 2 weeks ago. And I always joke, I was like, and like when one of my sisters will call me, I'll be like, guess what? Jumanji level 3. Or they'll be like, oh, it's Jumanji level 2. It's like you're unlocking a new level of craziness, and it's life's craziness. So I get to share it and not necessarily compare, but to be able to laugh about it. You're not taking away from the heaviness or the seriousness of the issue, but it's just kind of like distancing yourself from it and acting like, oh, that's happening to somebody else, but it's actually your life. It's just, I think it's probably one of our healthiest ways of coping with stress. But they're actually serious things. But I think comedy really helps with letting it go. Yeah,
For
because
me,
you still have to like get through it.
I think I probably learned this through work is if I cannot meet you where you are, I'll leave you alone.
Mm.
Like, I always want to hear people out first. And then my next question would be, how can I help? And if the way that you mentioned, and I cannot, I say, well, I'm not able to help in this way. How about this way? And I don't have any kind of expectations on friendship as long as there is no disrespect. Because, people are dealing with, because for me, disrespect like shuts my brain off like a switch. It's almost like, wait, what? So I would rather you tell me, oh, I can't help or I can't handle this now, as opposed to, people disrespecting me. Yeah, the way I handle friendship is I hear you out if you want to talk about it. If you don't, I respect that. And when you say what you say, and my question is, how can I help? Or how can I meet you where you are?
It's interesting that you said that. There's something Morrie, not Morrie, yeah, Morrie is the sick guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I got a mix up. Then Morrie said to Mitch regarding his brother, when his brother was dealing and they were trying to reach out and he was cut. He told Morrie that relationships have no formula.
They don't.
It's negotiated in a loving way that is desired by all parties. So stop, review and renew as much as necessary. That to me just, it's crazy, because sometimes you have relationships with people and then lives, all these other things start adding on to it, right? Somebody gets married, somebody has a kid. It's like, oh my God, my baby, like I have my baby, please, like the baby, I'm so tired of it. And you're like, oh, so what about me? But it's like, that's a good time to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Let's review and let's renew this contract. Like it should not have to be, oh, let's go to brunch every Sunday like we used to be. Things have changed now, or somebody is dealing with something like Mitch's brother, and Morrie told him, all you can do is just keep writing to him, and it doesn't have to be that always where it's reciprocated, but like you said, you meet someone where they are, and if both parties can negotiate in a loving way, I think that our relationships with people would last way longer.
Yes.
It doesn't have to always end.
I totally agree with it, which is why, because Morrie's thing when it came to relationship, I think with Mitch and his brother, he started with Morrie was heavy on love, right? He was one of those people. He said, pretty much that the true meaning of life lies in love. You have to love people. You have to let people love you. You have to let the love come in. And sometimes for you to do that, it requires you to be vulnerable. When he was saying that, he asked the brother, when he kept saying that, oh, he keeps reaching to his brother and he's not speaking to him. And then he told the brother that when they were younger, they used to be a lot closer. They had this example of them just rolling down the street. So in the space of him speaking, they said Morrie was quiet, and Morrie just asked him, have you told your brother those things? That were you vulnerable enough to actually let him know how you feel? And that, as you said, you stop, and as we said, we stop, you just renew it. He said, call your brother. It's very important to me, because he was having relationships. He said, call your brother and just tell him how you feel, and tell him that you have no expectations. You just want to see how he's doing. Listen, bro, okay, I haven't heard from you for a minute now. Man, I just want to know if you're breathing or not. Like, that's it. And that's exactly what he did. And right then, he said he went home and came back, and his brother sent him a fax. It was as simple as that. So sometimes friendships, especially as adults, is hard as hell. It's
Yeah.
non-familiar friendships, even with family, it's very difficult. And sometimes it takes you being vulnerable in certain aspects.
Mhm.
And it's not always about you. You detach yourself from it and say, okay, let me focus on another person and see what it is the other person needs. As you said, you meet them where they are, but it's more like you're looking at, let me see what it is that you need, that you think I can help you, or we can help sweeten this deal so we can get what it is that we're trying to get from each other. So that, to me, he was it's the fact that you had to be in certain situations, you have to be vulnerable. But in general, when you love people, you also have to allow them to love you, let the love come in, but you have to meet them sometimes, wherever they are in life. And with his relationship with his brother, he did exactly that. He just called him. He stopped putting all these, I'm worried about you, your cancer and everything else. He said, his exact words is, you're my brother. I literally just want to see if you're okay. And that's all it took for the brother to start sending him like a detail. I went to the doctor today and everything else. It was something that simple. And he just all he needed to do was to be vulnerable. So
Yeah, that's crazy you mentioned that, because I just lost one of my uncles and to cancer, and um he was just too silent with it, right? It wasn't until he was at his dying days that he told his siblings that, okay, this is what's going on with me, and everybody was like, yo, where's this? Wait, what? When? And it's been years, right? It's been years. But then again, also too, as a siblings, I was asking myself that, wait, you see this person year by year getting more frail and frail, and you never question yourself like, okay, what's going on with, bro, things like that. But in a sense, I think that, yeah, that is very important, right? To when you see something, especially something that's very abnormal, even if the person is not saying, at least reach out, right? Maybe they just need for somebody to show that they care, right? To be able to, express what it is that they feel, or things of of that nature.
Yeah, that's a scary thing in the African community, is that when somebody is sick, they hide it. And then by the time people start hearing about it, they're dead or almost dead, and only to find out it's battling with that for years and
Someone
years and
needs
years.
to put some research into why that is.
Yeah, because it's a sad, scary thing, because you, like, in a family, this person is sick, they share it, but this person is sick with the same thing and they're hiding it, and I'm just like, it's sickness, it's not a curse, and I'm just, I mean, shut up.
I might just, I don't know, I think it's a personal thing. I be caring, so I ask questions. I will check up on you till that kid don't come.
Sometimes people will tell you if you
Yeah.
ask, but then some people will not, because they're like, okay, if I tell you, you tell somebody, and then, but it's sickness. It's not like you call it upon yourself. But anyway, like I said,
It's like as AK said,
sometimes you just have to listen hard enough.
listen hard enough. It is. It's like as AK said, it's like a lot of the times the people will not share because they think it's either you will not care or they're afraid to share, or there's a couple of things. So literally, you just.
But then there's also the expectation that I'm telling you this because I want you to care in this way. But meanwhile, I can only care in this other way. Maybe I can care by calling or checking, but I may want you to care by showing up or sending me the
It's
food
not-
basket or something. In some
I don't-
cases, yes, it's been that
See-
expectation of the outcome of me telling you what I am dealing with.
Manu, when it comes to people, right, you see that expectations, a lot of the times when you take it out, it makes life a lot easier for you, and it makes a lot.
Unattached to the
Detach.
outcome.
Yes, you detach from it.
From the outcome.
If I check on you, it's not the expectation, though. If I'm asking something, not the expectation you have to do this. No, it's just to show that you care. Like I thought about you in the morning. I text you and say, "How are you doing?" Or I thought about you XYZ and say, "Yo, my guy, you breathing over there? We're good." So when you start adding those expectations from you, detach yourself from it. It makes it a lot easier. It makes it like when you're doing it, you're dealing with a pure heart and a clean heart. And whatever the outcomes or whatever the results you get from that, man, you don't care because I wasn't doing with anything, expecting anything. If the person responds cool, they don't, okay, we move on. I did my part, and all right, let's keep on going. Which is what
See,
Morrie was describing in the book.
I don't think that expectation in itself is a bad thing.
It's
I
not.
don't.
It's
I
not.
will tell you this, I carry expectations in my relationships. And now it depends on, sometimes it's transactional because that's the kind of relationship I have with this person. Otherwise, what are we doing here, right? And it's hard to say that when you're dealing with people, just detach from the expectation. Now, that don't work like that.
It's not
It
easy.
doesn't. Because if I am life, they say life not turn by turn, right? Today
Right.
you're down, I'm coming to you and I lift you up. It is only fair that you reciprocate that to me.
But that was not your intention with lifting them up, though, right?
No, it wasn't, but this is what I'm saying, right? At the end of the day, even if it's not your intentions, you cannot lie that there's a sliver, little bit of hope at the back of your head that if I'm down, I hope that somebody comes for me. You cannot in full good conscience say that you are 100% detached from that expectation. I think it's very unrealistic because at the end of the day, you're not doing it so that it could. Otherwise, why are we hurt when certain things don't happen? If you really were detached, you shouldn't be hurt by this. You shouldn't care if it's only coming from your end. You shouldn't care like that. You get what I'm saying? So not like your motive, not like you're like, okay, like I said, transactional. I give you, you give me type thing. But it's like, if it's genuine, I feel like if it's genuine and you pour genuinely into somebody, that person will only be a fool not to do the same.
Agree and not agree at the same time because
Yeah, because
it's just, I mean, like you said,
Can
right?
you honestly tell me that in all your relationships, you are 100% detached? Like you have zero expectation, not even even a 2% chance at the back of your head?
No.
Tell me now and I'll take it back.
No, I don't
That's
think
what
that
I'm
anyone
saying.
is. I think
you
that it
cannot.
all depends on the kind of relationship, because there's
Mhm.
certain people that you pour into, you have no expectation. You're just doing it out of the goodness of your heart. You're not expecting
Right.
that tomorrow when you're down is this particular person that will come to lift you up,
We'll
right?
show you shit.
Then there are
Absolutely.
certain people that you pour into. And when your rainy day comes, your first thought is like, oh, I remember that I did X, Y, and Z for you. Now that it's my turn. So it just
No, if you're doing that, then you're really not in trouble, like you think. Did you understand? You're just doing it in such a it's like holding each other up, right? I'm holding you up so you can be strong enough, and when I'm down, then you're strong enough to pick me up. So if your initial thought is, okay, let me see if Nelly will call me. Now that if you're doing that, then you're really not in trouble. If that is your initial thought, like I said, if you pour genuinely, it will only take a fool to not do that for you too in return.
but not
So-
everybody will still do it. That's what I
True, not everybody will.
This,
But I'm just saying, like that
Right.
expectation to say you're detached completely, I think that's very unrealistic.
I mean,
I mean,
there's a level of like that give back, right? I should be able to understand that give back is not going to be the same in the same amount and in the same aspect of things. You know what I mean? Like it might not be okay. For example, it could be in my powers that monetarily I can provide, right? I can help out. But the reverse might not be true. That person's might be,
a phone call.
yeah, you know what I mean, a phone call, like
like
emotionally,
you're showing
or you're
up.
just showing up, right? Just being that person that will physically be there. Or I know that, yo, there might be version this in XYZ thing and they'll always be there. Or, you know, when they know that, okay, when she hits a fan, okay, hey, yo, you think you could take care of the kids for tonight while I go handle this? You know, things like that. So just finding what's that person's best, right? And kind of let's say, okay, this is my best. This is what's best for this person. Aligning with that and saying that, okay, if they don't show up in that way that I know the best at, then there's an issue rather than, oh, no, they must show up at what I'm best at. I think
Absolutely.
so.
And sometimes, the people who show up for you may not be the people you show up for.
Yeah.
I don't know why I read it, but
Oh, that is true.
there was something along the lines of do things for others in good faith. It will come back to you, not necessarily from the
With
people
them.
you did it from.
Yeah.
But it will come back to you.
I mean, if I was, you know, going through my secondary school, hoping that only one teacher would teach me everything, then, you know, I was bound to be doomed
You're
in life.
setting yourself up for
Yeah,
failure.
you know, the reason why I went to multiple different people to learn multiple different, you know, ideas, experiences, and you know how to shape my surroundings or you know mold my days to come. You know, I mean, so I feel as though expecting something from one just particular person is really setting yourself up for failure because you would sit there and just keep feeling bad and bad and bad and bad. You know what I mean? So, it is what it is. You know, you show up, you don't, you don't. You might not show up today, but you might show up 4 years from today when I'm least expecting it. You know, it doesn't change the fact that you're still human. It doesn't change the fact that you don't have things going on for your own self. And sometimes too, you know, some people sit and think that everybody's gifted with the ability of seeing things. Some people have eyes, but they're naturally blind.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, sight may not be.
yeah, exactly. So it's also good that if you know what that other person is like, but yet expecting them to be something else, I don't know who is the crazy one in that equation.
It's like planting a mango tree and expecting oranges.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so,
Or expecting an orange tree to bear mangoes.
yep. Anyways, man, I think we've been going for a good minute. Maybe we can close like this. If anybody can, you know, summarize, you know, what Morrie's final message was in this, you know, one sentence, if you know, for the book, what would it be and why?
Be
Let's see.
present in the moment.
Yeah, let me see if I can take a stab at it. So, to summarize, Morrie's message to the readers and everybody in life, I think, was to you live life with no regrets, you live it fearlessly, you live it with intentions, and you live it full of love.
Yes, and yes.
And I think I pretty much explained the why in the whole summary, because he was all about intentional. He had 5 big things. He said you had to live life with love. You had to live life from meaningful, intentional relationship with people. You had to live it where you live life with no regrets in the things that you do. You detach yourself from the little things. That's how you get to fully enjoy what it means to be alive. You fully get to enjoy the little things that you have. And so and he was a big pusher of love, because according to him, he always said that the meaning of life truly lies in your love for people, in compassion, and your relationship with people. So he was somebody that was heavy about that, and he that's why he had the students, that's why he interacted with people, that's why he loved the way he did the things that he did.
Mhm.
And I think that as a sociology or teacher, professor, that may have influenced the way that he interacts with life. Because I took sociology courses and psychology, which is how I got into a medical, but a healthcare profession, but not medical, because we had to do a lot of like social experiments, like immerse yourself in the community to be able to understand people. I think we had an assignment where you had to go sit in a park or in a mall and then just observe people's body language and see how you relate or you connect to them. So I strongly believe that that's probably a thing that, college students should take at least one sociology course or one psychology course, because it helps you immerse yourself into other people's lives, and it helps you to kind of see life from many different perspectives, which is it's a good way to look at life. So it's not only about me, and mine,
Yeah.
but
And realize that we're all connected.
Yeah.
All are.
He said love is the only rational act. Learn to give out, to let it come in. I think that was pretty profound throughout the entire book. So, yeah. Teresia, any final conclusions there?
No, you calling her Teresa.
Teresa, I said Teresia.
I mean, they said it all. So, I
So
mean, if I just say anything, I'll just be repeating. Like, that was a perfect summary right there. So,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna let it be. Yeah.
with you. Well, final quote here as we close. Final quote here. He mentioned somewhere that sometimes you cannot believe what you see. You have to believe what you feel. If you have other
yeah.
people trust you, you must feel like you can trust them too. That kicked me in the shin bone a little bit. But
Yeah, to finish that experiment where that girl she was falling back, and I'm like, nah,
yeah.
that's a different level of trust. You cannot trust what you see. You can only trust what you feel.
Yep.
Woo!
That was pretty deep. That was pretty deep.
It was like the experiment in the book we read. What book was that? The
It's-
BET lady,
oh,
when she was a kid and her dad told her to fall
I
back.
beg, don't remind me
Oh,
of that.
That
That upset all
that
of
took
us.
me back there. That took me. That's why I said that experiment is not for me. Yeah,
yeah.
I don't have that kind of trust. Not yet, and I don't know if I'll ever get there. But I get the part where you can trust what you feel, not what you see. But hey, real.
Yes. So, anyways, man. Thank you, guys. I think we covered as much as we could. There's still so much to the book for you to listeners and watchers. It's I think 4 hours and 20 minute long read. You can knock that out in a day, man. You're mowing the lawn, you could listen to that. You're washing the dishes, you're doing, man, whatever choice you're doing, you keep listening to it. I think it could be done within a day. You're driving to go, to go chill your man or woman. You know what I mean? You could be listening to it. It'll motivate you to do that. Just saying. I mean, anyhow you want to consume the information, I think you got it. It's very short. You should get into it and let us know what you think. But anyways, man, thank you for joining us today on this collaboration between Palm Wine Central Podcast and Documented Podcast. We hope you enjoyed a deep dive into Tuesdays with Morrie by Mitch Albom, and found this discussion insightful and thought-provoking.
So as we wrap up, let's recap some of the key takeaways from today's episodes. The value of life's simple pleasures, importance of relationship, dealing with aging and mortality, pursuit of meaningful work, and overcoming materialism. Morrie's wisdom continues to inspire us as we live more fulfilling and meaningful lives. So get the book.
But as a teacher's version, we do encourage you to grab a copy of the book, if it's a hard copy or the audio version, whatever works for you. It's a very short read, as Uncle AK had alluded to. Just read on it, reflect, and consider how you can apply this to your own life and on a day-to-day basis. And we will be happy to hear your thoughts and experiences. So please do share with us on social media, comment, comment under the video. If not, we can reach to each of us individually. Our handles are going to be attached to the video, and just ask us any questions. We're open to all. We love hearing your thoughts.
All of us want to see the messages. Well, for the next week, stay tuned for our next episode where we will be discussing Boundaries by Henry Cloud, which is about when to say yes, how to say no to take control of your life. We are excited to continue this journey of exploring and learning with you.
And if you
Join
enjoyed
us
today's
in the next
episode, please don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. Your support helps us reach more listeners and continues to bring about meaningful content. Also, share this episode with your friends and family who might benefit from Morrie's life's lessons.
So. And thank you once again to our partners at West Central Podcast for collaborating with us here at Stuck in the Middle. It's been a pleasure sharing this space with you. Until next time, remember to embrace life's simple pleasures, cherish your relationships, and live with purpose. I'm one of your hosts, Uncle AK. On this episode, I'm joined by Therese, Barbara, Mane, and Nelly. Appreciate you all, and catch you guys on the next one. You've been listening to Stuck in the Podcast. Take care and see you soon.
Later.
Bye.
Join our book club too.
Yeah, you join us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring your exes. Everybody. Yeah. Even your grandma and your grandpa, if they want to join us.